Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Resilience Element Show and also for the webinar series on the Resilience Element Formula. And today I'm very happy because I have my friend Soulman Ongoiba, who is formerly from Mali. Is that right? Mali, and now he lives in the United States. And I think we're going to hear and learn a lot today, especially on the commitment. If you remember, the Resilience Element Formula has 5 components. So you have the clarity, you have the conviction, you have the certainty, commitment, which is what we're going to talk about today, and courage. What's so special about Soulman is that he's been a best-selling author, co-author with Brian Tracy of the book that was called Winning the Way, if I believe it's right. And then also he calls himself, and I think it's really interesting, Elite Athlete Sensei, because he's been an Olympic hopeful or Olympic alternate for the judo in 2008. Something incredible. Am I missing something, my friend? I just want to make sure we give you enough spotlight on you. Please feel free to describe you a little bit more to all the people that are watching right now.
Well, thank you, Francis. I'm honored. It's a privilege for me to be here and sharing definitely the 5 part of a resilience element. And thank you very much. I think now you said it well. And yeah, and I was born in Mali till I was age 9, and that's really where my roots are. But I really look at myself really as a, universal, citizen, of the world. So definitely living here in the United States, I will go more into it. But I'm really excited to be here, and hopefully we can provide value to your audience.
Well, I really think so because, you and I know each other. And the thing is, I know a little bit about your story. I think your story is phenomenal because training for the Olympic must not be that easy, right? I think it's something that, for people that needs to be resilient, there's something to learn. So I was thinking, can you give us a little bit of an idea of your story of how did it happen? Like, why did you become, or why did you want to become a judo master and go to the Olympic? That takes a lot of commitment. And then we'll touch base on what does that take in terms of commitment to do what you've done? And what do you do when something goes wrong or when you have a big setback or an obstacle in your face and you might think, oh man, I'm going to stop. So I want to hear your story, my friend.
Thank you. But I really like the way you kind of look at the 5 elements. And, definitely as I'm going through, I can definitely see all the elements you're talking about. In specific to the commitment phase, and my story is, I was born in Mali till age of 9, where I grew up. And literally, I remember at age 8, Francis, looking at Seoul Olympics, looking at the bird flying. I was sitting down in the room, in a small room with my older brother and my dad, watching the openings, the Olympics openings, and, they give the countries, the United States, Canada. So at that moment, I had a bonding with my father and my brother, and my dad was like, wow, those are the best in the world. So at that moment, a dream popped up in my mind at age 8. I was like, this is what I want to be. I want to be out there. I want to be with those athletes. That's where I belong. And looking around me, even though we're not rich, we're not poor, but really seeing outside, people, growing in a poor environment relatively, I felt something that I really wanted to do is really to help people, to empower them, and really, let them know there is a better way and to not give up. So that to me, that commitment got ingrained in me, but I was like, my way is going to be through the Olympics. And really, that's how really I got that idea and that seed in my mind. So fast forward 23 years later, I'm in United States with the #1 varsity judo team in the whole United States, in San Jose State, here in California, in Silicon Valley. And really, that helps me, train here with Olympians, coaches, and, so it's really been a daily routine. But at age 32, Francis, working here in Silicon Valley, where I'm, talking to you. As an engineer background, I felt that after winning, international medals, competing internationally, I felt that this was my time. And I was like, if I don't go try it, this I might not never make it. So that dream that I had at age 9 just kept coming forward. That kept just pulling me forward. And sometimes, have you ever had a situation where you try to avoid your calling, but this was it? So I had decided that I'm not going to fight anymore my destiny, and that's what I did. So Francis, with all my savings, with everything, what I did, I dropped my work, and within 1 year, I said, 2007, I was like, it takes people 4 years and 8 years to prepare for it. I was like, sorry, my French, this is it. Screw it, I'm going for it. So I quit my job, I did everything, and I went travel the world and train, 6, 7, 8 hours a day. And during that trial, it's broken bones, broken nose, and bleedings, and all that trial and error. And I really had no coach, and I had just friends and traveled the world. So it was an amazing experience, Francis. Wow. And bringing it back, I couldn't have done it without a commitment. But really, that's really so I come back. The heartbreak, sweet, sour story is, Francis, even after defeating the silver world champion, the full point, I didn't make it.
Yeah. How did you feel when that happened?
I felt heartbroken. And I'm sure we all heard the story where we heard the story about going all in, right? And that's what I did. And you have to do it. And I'm proud I did it. But what happened when you go all in and you don't get your result? Do you back up? You still don't.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what the people want to hear. Because mentally, like you said, you're devastated.
Yes.
So how long were you working at, like, before you knew that it was 4 years, you said?
Yes, so I was doing judo. Doing judo for 20 years, but really it was the preparation in 6 years going there and all the time.
6 years, big, huge commitment.
Yes.
And you arrived to that point. So what do you do mentally? Like, how do you feel, and what do you do to get out of that?
That's right. It's a great question. And I'm going to be honest, it's really, that's where I think I really love your 5 stages, because it took some clarity in order to get to that commitment phase. It took some conviction, it took some certainty for me to get to that commitment level. And literally what that clarity brought up to me was a commitment, because what I realized, Francis, is I was able to connect to 26 years, the commitment I had made. And I had to have that clarity. Why the Olympic? In Francis, I'm not sure if I shared that with you, but the reason I wanted to go to Olympics was because growing up, I've seen what I saw was poverty. What I saw was lack of hope. So indeed, what I wanted to provide to the people was hope. To the people of Mali, where I was growing up, that you can make it. So what I had to connect was, my goal wasn't really Olympic, it's really providing that hope. So that's why now,
it was for something bigger than you. So it's not like, and they say normally for people that are very successful, it's not about you.
That's right.
It's something about bigger that pulls you. That's and right. For you, it was providing hope. So it's almost like you had your whole country on your shoulder.
That's right.
Go there, right?
Yes, exactly. That's right. And so literally you're right on. And really, so it's really, and in the journey, actually, Francis, what I realized is it was even bigger than even Mali. What I realized, it wasn't a Malian problem. It was an African problem. It wasn't a European problem. In fact, that's where I went with my wife. It wasn't even an American problem. What I realized, that's why you and I connect. It's a humanity problem. And that's why I'm really passionate now with my business, calling myself the Elite Athlete Sensei. And it's that commitment I'm taking forward, literally helping people overcome that.
So what do you tell people and first of all, how do you discover that people might lack commitment? Do you have any signs that you see that you know that you have to probably work on commitment? And once you find that, what do you do to make sure that the commitment is consistent? Okay,
and great question. And I think looking at your point, it's very poignant, because you cannot have commitment if you don't have clarity, and if you don't have purpose, and if you don't have your heart in it. And that's what I had, all those elements. And it's funny that, I'm looking at your point. I couldn't have all this engagement if I didn't have my purpose in my mind, clarity of what I want to become. Because in fact, I could have given up and just go back to corporate America and not have my business now, which is really helping people and empowering them. Because I had that in my heart. What I realized was that the Olympics is just a stepping stone to what my life and my destiny is all for.
Wow, I love this. You know, I connect with you so much when you say that, because I think that, and that's also part of the courage. Like you mentioned so many different things. We say purpose, I call it conviction, being convinced about something, and then realizing that that obstacle, even if it's the biggest in our mind, the courage is to reframe it.
Yes.
That it might not actually just be for the Olympics.
Right.
It's something else. It's a stepping stone.
Right.
It's not over.
Yeah.
There's something else.
Absolutely.
And for me, what I'm so impressed is when you say, I'd like the people to understand, like, to decide to leave everything and go all in. There's a lot of people that are scared, myself included. You know, we're at that point sometimes, I don't know, like, so what was your mindset, and how did you say, okay, you know what, I'm going all in? Was that big purpose in your mind, in your heart, that you had to show how the people can be inspired to do something great?
Quick question. I think to me, ultimately, there is one guiding principle I have. It's living my fullest, living my very best every second. And I endeavor to it. I'm married and I have kids. And I'm not going to say that it happens all the time. But that's a guiding principle that I have, such that every day when I wake up, Francis, when I have any encounter, any experiences, I want to make sure that I've given them my very best. So in that purpose and in those guiding principles, there is something that impacted me, if I can share with you. It's a story. When I was 6 years old, I was in a farm with my grandfather. And there is a poem that my grandfather, I think was in his 70s, were sitting down. The story, it was Be the Best of Whoever You Can Be. Douglas Malloch, you might have heard about it. But that moment, even today when I think about it, my grandpa passed away, maybe 30 years ago, but that connects me to that. So that's a value, a guiding principle that's so anchoring me, that in whatever you do, when you commit, you can never lose. And let me repeat that, because when you commit, you can never lose, because no matter what, I have that say that I like to, I'm going to trademark, but the way I look at it is, when you commit, Francis, you inspire excellence. And excellence is rooted in each of us. It's not on Olympians only. It's in all of us. That's why we are inspired by the Olympics, because we all have that in ourselves. So this is what happened. When you commit, you inspire excellence. And this is the beauty, my friend. Guess this. When you inspire excellence, you ignite your own evolution. And that's where the key lies.
I love this. I really love this. I personally, thanks for bringing that up, because that's the same thing with the resilience. When we talk about the 5 elements, I think we all have it. It's all in there. It's all in there. It's just a matter of reactivating it.
Yes.
Reigniting it. Yes. That fire, that passion that comes and that inspires, that excellence that inspires everybody.
Yes.
So when you work with your clients and it might need a little bit more fire, what do you tell them so that they have that commitment, that excellence that inspires everyone around them and their friends and their family? What do you say?
Ultimately, the guiding principle that I like to look at, would you look back and say, what if? Right? And I think I like that say, they say that an ounce of or sweat and tears, is, lighter than, an ounce of regret. So that's always the perspective I always like to live. When you commit, you will never regret it. And what happened, Francis, the other thing I want to add is when you commit, you're fully present. When you commit, energy moves with you. When you commit, life moves with you. So it's really all in. That's really why commitment is important.
And it's funny how everything comes together, right? Because you have a vision, but then you're committed, and then it's almost like a laser. You're just so committed. You're going somewhere, and that's where you put your, I don't know, I'm French Canadian, so I don't know, I have all the words, but what they put on the horse.
Yeah, the blinders.
Exactly, right? You're focused, and because you're so focused, you're trained, and then people are looking at you, they're inspired. You get more clarity because you're just in that tunnel vision.
Yes.
And obviously, you hit sometimes setbacks, but like you said, it might just be a milestone.
Yes.
It might just be a stepping stone of something else.
Right.
And that's what you're doing today. You have a different perspective. Now you're helping people, right?
Yes.
People through your experience, and that served so many people.
Yes. Yes, you got it right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and you're right. And that's exactly, I love what you're saying, because when you commit, there is a say that your story, the story that are being built behind you, because you are fully committed, they're helping you live your life mission, live whatever you have in front of you. While when you're not committed, it's always one door open or not. But when you're fully committed, there is no open door, and that's a way. And that's the only way, because when you are fully committed, again, I love that, because when you are fully committed, there is no if or but. You're going to inspire your very best, because all the energy, all your mind, you have to inspire your very best. And when you inspire your very best, you have to go to your next best level. I just get excited, sorry about it, but I hope you can feel it. I really believe
I love it. Trust me, I love this. Like, bring it on, bring it on.
but literally, that's really what I want to really have a TED talk, say that really that's when you commit, you inspire excellence. When you inspire excellence, you ignite your own evolution, because there's no other way. You have to evolve to your very best.
On evolution, I love this. It's a quote. Is that taken already? You should.
Yes, my quote. That's a quote exactly. I want to have a TED talk on that. But yeah, just to your point, just thank you. Really, I love the way you kind of frame the 5 elements, and it makes a lot of sense.
And before departing, I have 2 more questions, and one, because I think that's what happened, is that sometimes a lot of people, they're committed, they have everything, but what do you do? What's your view on distraction? So many distractions, right? I'm assuming that you go, your friends are pulling you, everybody's pulling you, your attention's being pulled on different. How do you remove as much as you can distractions, or how do you stay committed?
Great. That's an excellent question. It's an excellent question. I think the 2 elements that personally I use a lot to kind of stay in that commitment is actually connecting the heart and the head. And the way I do that is, it's funny because you have it here, it's really in your model. The heart, the way to connect your heart is your purpose, the why. Because that's one thing that kept me going regardless of a broken nose, a broken hand, is I had to reconnect back to why am I doing this, right? When friends go partying, when they go all this, and I'm in Austria in cold winter training, in those rooms, right? So you have to dig deeper and go back to that place. You have to go, and the way to do it is connecting to that clarity you bring back, because that why and that what. So when you connect those 2, it all moves in that, you come back to that place.
I love this, Soulman. And I've interviewed, I don't know if I ever told you, but I interviewed Baptiste de Pape, who is the filmmaker of The Power of the Heart. And he used to say, I don't know if it's exactly from him, but we're talking about the power of the heart. And you're absolutely right. There's a purpose. They say that the longest journey is between your heart and your brain.
Beautiful.
And the brain is, your heart is the master.
Right.
Your brain is the executor. So which is what you said, the clarity, right? So you have that force inside your heart.
Right.
Have that clarity, the clarity of the brain that can just merge it together and do something extraordinary.
Beautiful.
So now, last words, my friend. I know that we'd love to hang around for hours and hours. Is there anything that you'd like to add in terms of your message about the commitment and what you bring to the world?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you, and hopefully we're able to add few insight. But like you said, it's in all of us, and really it's all about, just reactivating those. So I hope that I was able to add and activate to few people, but literally, that's what I believe. I believe that each of us deserve to live our best lives. And that's one thing I like to say. Dare to live, my friend.
We're here to live our passion. And thank you so much, Soulman. I feel privileged that we had insights about your journey. Thanks for sharing your personal stories about your grandfather when you were young at 8 years old, having a dream, doing it for the country. And then the journey, even though you didn't succeed to the biggest ultimate goal, you succeeded so well to inspire other people, because that was just a little stepping stone to what you're doing right now. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time, my friend.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And hopefully we talk soon. Thank you, Francis.